Here's my old PC that I was using to edit videos on the channel, and you've all seen it before. It's got an Intel i5 12600K, an ASRock Steel Legend 7900 GRE, 32 gigabytes of Ripjaws DDR4 RAM. For what it was a really nice computer, and I was really happy with how it turned out. For as much as I liked this computer, liked how it looked and liked how it performed, and it was a really good value too. I think overall I only had about $1,300 in it. I was coming up with a problem. When I was working in DaVinci Resolve, which is my preferred video editing software, I was getting an issue where it was telling me that my GPU memory was used up or run out, or I didn't have enough for the project that I was working on. The 7900 GRE is a very capable GPU, has 16 gigabytes of VRAM, but it was still causing me a problem. I decided that I was going to take some of these PC flipping profits that I had and turn them into a new build, which you can see here that I'm really excited to show you. So let's go ahead and walk through what it was like to sell my old PC, which I loved dearly, and to move on to this new one. So when it came to listing it for sale, it was pretty tough to spec out exactly how much I paid for all of it. I did the best I could, and I came up to around $1,300. So I thought, I'm not trying to actually make a profit off this thing. I spent a good bit of money on aesthetics and things that don't have quite as high of a return if you bought them brand new. So I went ahead and listed it for $1,450. And I'll be honest, I was pretty surprised at just how popular this thing was. I listed it about in the beginning of November. And as you can see here, over the course of, it was like 2 or 3 weeks, it got over 2,500 clicks, 50 saves, a couple of shares, and a bunch of people that were interested in it. Ultimately, I was able to sell it to a guy who actually drove about an hour to meet me, sold it to him for $1,400. I knocked $50 off the price for him being willing to drive all the way to me. But before I walk through all the parts of my new build, there is a couple of things that I want to just get out of the way to avoid some of the comments of why didn't you buy a 4090? So first things first, I wanted my budget to be around $2,500, and I wanted to get the most performance that I could, but I also do enjoy the aesthetics of a PC, and so I am going to spend some money on aesthetics that does nothing for performance. Sorry to anybody out there who does not care for that. So with all that out of the way, let's get into my CPU and GPU choice. That's probably why most of you are here. As you could tell from the thumbnail, I went all AMD on this one. I went for the Ryzen 9 9900X. I was able to get it from Newegg for $367. I was also considering the 9950X. That processor is still $600 to $700. So the value that you get from this processor at that price, I think, is unmatched. It was a no-brainer, and I'm really glad I went with it. For the GPU, this one may ruffle a few feathers, but let me just briefly explain why I did what I did. So it came down to fit into my budget, either a 7900 XTX or a 4080 Super. And I searched around to try to find just exactly how they would perform with what I wanted them to do, which is primarily video editing. And lo and behold, a guy named Tech Notice, and I'm going to link his video down below. He does really great breakdowns of different hardware for video editing. But when he compared the 4080 Super to the 7900 XTX, both in DaVinci Resolve, which is the program I use, and Adobe Premiere Pro, the 7900 XTX blows the 4080 Super out of the water. Not only that, it's a couple $100 cheaper. I was able to get the one I got for $900 from Newegg right before Thanksgiving. So a super deal there. I was able to save a few $100, still fit into my budget, and get a really awesome graphics card. Now for some more of the internal components. For the motherboard, I went with the Gigabyte Aorus X870E Pro Ice. It's an all-white board with a white PCB, fully featured, Gen 5 everything, which I don't even have anything Gen 5, but I got it anyway. It looks absolutely fantastic, and I'm really happy with it. For the RAM, the reason why I went with the 9900 versus one of the 7000 series processors like the 7950X was I really wanted to get some fast RAM. So I got this from Klevv. It is 48 gigabytes of 7200 megahertz RAM, 2 sticks, so 2x24, and I've really enjoyed the speed of it so far. For storage, I have 2 older drives that I used, a 2 terabyte Samsung 980 Pro and a 2 terabyte Crucial P3 Plus. And for the power supply, I used an NZXT C1000. I know NZXT is kind of on the hot seat right now. I bought this power supply before the Gamers Nexus video came out. I probably would have went a different direction had I known that, but whatever. It's an A tier PSU. It's 1,000 watts, and it's worked fine thus far. For the AIO, I was really interested to try out the Arctic Liquid Freezer 3, and I went ahead for the 420 millimeter version of it. I gotta tell you, this thing is enormous, but it does a really good job of cooling the 9900X. Even though that's not quite as hot of a processor as the previous generation, it still gets pretty toasty when I'm rendering videos and things of that nature. This generally keeps it at 60 degrees or less, even under load, which is awesome. So I'm really happy that I went for the 420 millimeter Liquid Freezer 3, but it is massive. You definitely have to make sure you have plenty of room in your case. And speaking of case, this is probably one of the parts I was most excited about, and also one of the least practical. But I went with the BeQuiet Lightbase 900 FX. I went for the 900 just because I knew a lot of the components in this PC were going to be big. The graphics card is enormous. It's like the size of a cinder block. The 420 millimeter AIO is huge, and it wouldn't have fit in the smaller version. And I just, for some reason, when I saw this case come out, I just really wanted to build in it. I just think it's really cool looking. It's neat. I don't have any plans to flip it on its side or upside down or whatever. I like it just the way it is oriented. I was able to get some nice fans to match on the bottom for intake, and I think this case just looks absolutely tremendous, and I'm a huge fan of it. I'll do a separate review video of the Lightbase 900, but I do highly recommend it. So there you have it. So there's my new PC that I'm going to be using to edit these videos. It's way more PC than I needed, but I still think that I kept the budget under control, didn't go too crazy, $2,500. It was all PC flipping profits anyway, so was it even real money? I don't know, but I'm happy that I did it. I think it looks tremendous and turned out great. What do you guys think? Let me know. Tell me what you would have done differently. I know 4090, etc., but 4090s are more than the budget of this whole build anyway. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it, and we'll catch you on the next one.